I'm going to give you the number one biggest challenge related to communication. And that is lack of honest communication. Now, when people hear me speak about honest communication and they're aware of the books that I've written, they think I'm going to go down the path about lies, that people are lying to us. But the biggest problem is not really that. In fact, the biggest problem is not what people say, it's what they don't say to each other. So how do we get people to speak up? How do we get people to share more? By first looking at the 4 levels of honest communication. I've always been upfront and very honest, and so I would start to tell other people about how you could have honest conversations. And then a friend of mine said, why don't you teach other people to do this? And I'm like, it's kind of obvious. He goes, no, it's not obvious. The big breakthrough in my business was when I developed a formula on how to communicate, have an honest conversation, and have it go well with anyone. So if we look at it like a triangle, the basic one is the shutdown level. Have you ever had a secret or something you got to keep inside? It's really stressful. If you feel safe to do so, you'll let it out. So here's the thing. People will share with us things as long as we make them feel safe. Second level up, where we're trying to get to, is the next one is reactive honest communication. Here's the good point. The good point is people share. The bad point, it requires us to ask them a question. If we don't ask the right question, we don't get the right answer. See, here's the challenge is a lot of times when I ask people, do you have open, honest communication? People say yes, but what they really have is reactive honesty, and that's the challenge. So where we really want to move things is it starts to turn around is around proactive honesty. Proactive honest communication is where people share without asking. How many of you have ideas for people and have not shared all your ideas, which you're pretty practically upfront? Please raise high. Look around, folks, because this shows you something. If the majority of people in this room have ideas and haven't shared with others, the majority of people in our life have ideas and wisdom for us that could make a huge difference in our lives. People are incredible. They're really ingenious. They have all kinds of ideas. You just have to ask yourself, how often do we hear ideas? And if you're sitting there as a leader or just in your life and nobody shares ideas, it's not because there are no ideas, it's because they're not sharing it. So what are we doing? What barriers are we creating that is stopping people from sharing things? It's all about free the people. The gold standard, where we really want to get to, is foreshadowing honesty. Foreshadowing honesty is this. This is where somebody feels so open to sharing, they're actually willing to look down the pike, look down the road and say, what are some potential issues? What are some potential problems? What are some great ideas? And sharing that. This is a time for us all to come together and say, okay, we've got to be proactive, but what down the pike are people, the competitors, not even thinking about that we could create and outsmart everybody else? How are we going to do this? By the wisdom in this room. If we have these 3 non-negotiables, making key commitments without following up, proactive honesty, and straight line communication, your organization can be transformed immediately. How do we go to the next 4 levels that we talked about? Remember, in the mashup, there's shutdown, there's reactive, then proactive, then foreshadowing. How do we move up? Well, I gave you 5 keys, but I want to give you a central strategy that when you learn it, you can execute on this, and it will automatically open up with all kinds of folks. And I'm going to suggest that you can simplify your life into something you either notice or something you imagine. Notice are the facts of the situation. Imagine is all of our thoughts, opinions, and evaluation. Notice is what we'd all agree is a fact. Imagine is what we might debate. When you send an email and they don't return your email, what do you make that mean? They're ignoring us. I knew it. What else? They're busy. They're always busy doing something. What else? They're not checking their emails. They're never on top of their emails.
So actually, here's the difference. Fact-based versus opinion-based. It's easy to share sometimes all of our opinions, but are we willing to cite the facts? What's really helpful is two major steps. One is to make it fact-based, not opinion-based, and then ask, share what you want to move forward.
So all of those responses were a notice or imagine. Imagine. And most of those responses were positive or negative. Negative, and who came up with them? We did. So something very important to remember that can actually change your life. Never, ever let your silence do the talking. Never let your silence do the talking, because I just proved to you the problem. We all suffer from a disease called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is not only do we notice and then we come up with a conclusion, but now we circle back and we see what we want to see. And we start building a case and a narrative about that person. Whenever you're stuck and you're not sure what to do and you're thinking, should I go this way or should I go that way? Should I speak up or should I not? What should I do? Think, what would the 99-year-old me tell me to do right now? And that's what we need to do in the moment.